Welcome, Asghar Saab. You are the leader of the Progressive Dawoodi Bohra movement. Could you tell me what your movement stands for?
You see, our movement stands for change and progress. Dawoodi Bohra community is strictly controlled by priestly family.
But
And,
aren't the other sections of Islam also controlled by imams and the priests?
So, Dawoodi Bohra's, this progressive movement is within the Dawoodi Bohra community. There are many communities among Muslims. This is Shia Ismaili community, Dawoodi Bohra community. And it is strictly controlled by high priest and has very powerful priestly establishment.
Are you a priest?
No, I'm not formally priest. I have knowledge of Islam and Islamic theology, Islamic jurisprudence, but formally I don't act as a priest. So since I know Islam intimately, my father was an official priest and he taught me, I studied Islam and all. So I knew what are the fundamental principles of Islam, what Islam stands for, and how it is being distorted by the priestly family, and how they are using it for their personal interests. So they have imposed lot of restrictions on the community. Don't what you can do and what you cannot do. So those orders emanate from priestly family. You cannot go against those orders. You cannot deviate from official line. If you do, then they declare a boycott against you, social boycott. Then your own parents, wife, children won't maintain relations with you.
In your movement, would you do that for people who you believe are not following the Quran?
Not at all. No. We say we are all free. I mean, if your conscience says these are your principles acceptable to you, you are free to act according to that. I'm nobody to lay down unless certain moral questions.
Such as?
I mean, you will not have sexual relations without marriage, or you will not drink, or you will not, cheat or lie or commit fraud or theft. These are moral principles. Even secular law has prescribed punishment for that. But I would not say that you cannot vote in the election, or you vote in the election for the candidate I tell you, or you cannot start a charitable organization or educational institution. No, never. Everyone is free to do what one wants to do.
So do you support girls' education?
Of course. Girls' education, I consider it as obligatory.
And parda?
No parda. Only dignified dress, which does not make you victim of lust. That's all. No parda. And certainly not covering face. It's out of question. The dress you are wearing is quite dignified dress. So nobody can say that you are going against Islamic principles. It is they who prescribe it, that you will have to wear rida from head to foot, which is not required by Quran also. So who are you to do it? It became a cultural practice, that's all. It is not obligatory for women to hide her face or serve husband as a wife.
So why are your views not known as much as the conservative ones, the imams who set out fatwas that girls must not ride bicycles, girls must not go without their heads covered? Why do they get so much of...
We keep on challenging such fatwas. I have challenged several fatwas and wrote about it. My articles are largely circulated. People read. But only thing is, those who can read will read. Those who cannot read, I mean, if and that is the reason why they don't want to educate girls, and that is the reason why they want people to remain illiterate. But now to maintain such a position is very difficult. Now all ulama have started saying yes, education, but then they say girls and boys should be separated in education. After this rape incident in Delhi, Jamaat-e-Islami came out with a statement that girls and boys, they should be educated separately, no co-education. As if the rape
Had
took
anything
place
to do
because
with the
of
education
co-education.
of girls and boys
So
together.
we have no objection for co-education. Only one must maintain one's morality. I mean, one should be strong enough to defend oneself. But co-education by itself does not lead to any such thing.
What do you think of Salman Rushdie?
Salman Rushdie's book is really very bad.
The Satanic Verses. You read it?
It's downright offensive, not only to Muslims, even to others. I mean, there is something like decent language. I mean, if we write something, even novel or short story, we use, language which would be dignified, which would be cultured, which would be civilized. I can't use four-letter words for someone I do not agree with or someone I want to ridicule. This is what Salman Rushdie has done. He's used very bad language for Prophet's wives, for Prophet.
I do not believe he's used any bad language against the Prophet in the book.
Prophet himself may not be there, but his wives, his uncle, his companions, even angel Jibreel.
But there's no
all
bad
of them he has
language.
used. You see, he's a rationalist. He does not believe in God, in religion. Fine. But there is something like dignified discourse. If you want to establish superiority of reason, it should be done in a reasonable way.
But he
Not
wrote a story.
story, but that is what he calls magical realism. It is such a complicated thing that those who are not acquainted with those literary trends would not even understand, except that certain things like Prophet's uncle is drunk, is standing outside Kaaba.
But do you think banning it helps?
No, banning does not help. I am not saying it should be banned, but it should be challenged.
Definitely. You're
And
free to
one
challenge
should write,
it. Yeah.
yes.
But
It
there's no
should be
point
challenged.
in banning it because it really doesn't, it in fact helps the book.
But then,
If
banning or not banning will also depend on the context. For example, you write anything about Christ in Western countries, so nobody would mind it. But if you write something against Christ in India, the Christians will agitate. And there
well,
will
that's
be,
because the
So-
government responds to agitations. In other countries, they don't.
government should judge the situation. If it is really leading to serious law and order situation, you may have to ban.
But anyone
Not
can,
on literary
anyone
grounds.
can create a law and order situation. Any hooligans can create
then-
a law and order situation.
but then
It's
in-
for the government to control it.
To control it, government.
If you cow down to
yes.
everyone who
But
creates hooliganism,
there are certain issues on which even control may not be possible.
no, but they can debate it. They can,
Governments, I am monitoring communal riots in India since independence. Government has not controlled any riot. It has allowed several people to be
when
killed.
it suits them, they can control it.
yes.
When it suits them, they don't control it.
They don't control, but
So-
most of the riots suit them, so they don't control. And there are very few riots which they would like to control.
But don't
if
you
there is
think that
political
there's,
compulsion.
say something
So
like
what happens if they want politically that book should be banned, they will ban it. And because votes are also considered. If we do not ban it,
But your
particular
base, your
community will not.
progressive base, seems to be
I'm
less
saying I'm
powerful
not in favor
than
of-
the Imam Bukhari conservative base, which wants everything banned. Your base seems to be much less powerful. Nobody listens to you.
No, but problem is how many people are behind me.
How many?
And how many people are behind Bukhari.
How many people are
no
behind you?
proportion. No proportion.
How many people are behind you?
Few thousand.
And him?
So, lakhs.
Why is that?
Because people are generally illiterate, poor, backward. That's why it happens. You cannot have a party like Shiv Sena in America. You cannot have a party like Vishwa Hindu Parishad, or you cannot have Taliban in America.
No, you can't.
So it depends on the social context.
Have you been following the Kamal Hassan film controversy?
I just read in newspapers. I have not seen it.
Would you be in
Now,
favor
some
of banning
Muslims-
it? Would you be in favor of banning it?
I'm not in favor of banning anything, either book or film or anything. But
You're not
one
giving
has-
me, I'm not having fun. I wish you'd say yes so that I could fight with you.
You see, I'm all for intellectual freedom, but on condition, intellectual freedom should not be on the basis of biases and prejudices. If I'm prejudiced against a community and in the name of intellectual freedom I say anything, that cannot be accepted. Intellectual freedom means about serious issues where you and I differ on certain things. You are as honest as I am, and then we differ each other. That is intellectual freedom. If you say that I would abuse Hindus or Muslims or Christians and assert it as my right, that cannot be done. That line has to be drawn. Now, for example, Dr. Taha Hussain, who was Minister of Education in Egypt in late 50s, he disagreed with the view that Abraham ever visited Mecca. Now, it's a part of Muslim belief that Abraham did visit Kaaba and laid foundation for Kaaba. He said no. Well, nobody killed him, nobody abused him, nobody punished him, because he was not ridiculing. He was challenging on the basis of history. That my study of history shows
But
that
even if somebody ridicules, so what? Allah should be so big that it shouldn't affect anybody.
you see, that is the difference between Western culture and our culture. That
Our culture
to
is where
ridicule,
we take advantage of
No,
a political
blind
situation.
faith is different from ridiculing. I would say, no, this is not the way it is. I will challenge it intellectually, but I will not ridicule.
So do you
I
think
will
killing
not
a
heap
cartoonist?
abuses.
Do you think killing a cartoonist who mocked Muhammad the
No,
Prophet
no.
is good?
You
Is
see-
right?
Killing of?
The cartoonist.
No. Killing of cartoon. Killing anybody is not right. Let it be very clear. Taking any human life, even of that person who has taken human life. I am against death sentence. It goes against the principles of human rights. So, no question of, somebody abusing Prophet and killing him. No. You must persuade him, argue with him. If some Muslims keep bombs, do you think Prophet is responsible for that? He will show bomb in his turban. How ridiculous it is. The cartoonist also should have some sense of proportion. How Prophet is responsible for...
But you can just dismiss it. You don't have to get violent over it.
Yes, dismiss it, or no, not to be violent at all. It's out of question. That's
So,
what I'm
according to
saying.
your ideas, I think
But
it's
some-
about time that you
No,
spread
but
them.
in West,
You're not spreading your ideas enough.
1 minute. In the West,
The-
it was asserted as a right that
We can do
cartoonist
it.
has right,
No, but-
and then they went on multiplying it.
But
That's
your
not
progressive
correct.
ideas of Islam should be spread more in India. You're not doing enough.
Who is not doing it?
You are not doing enough. The imams and all are issuing
But
fatwas
are
and
you-
they're getting away
wha-
with it,
wha-
and you're not spreading the word.
What
You only
can
have
I-
a few
tell me,
thousand.
first, what is your idea? What should I do?
You should go around the country and spread your word.
I do. I
Not
do.
enough if you've only got 1,000
So
followers.
what is enough? How do you? Who
If
will
you're saying
decide?
you've only got 1,000
Who
followers,
will decide?
you've got a couple of thousand followers.
Yes.
You have to have
Take
more.
any intellectual in the world, and this is the situation. Any
But
intellectual.
you have to work harder to spread your ideas.
Of course, I have devoted my life.
That's not enough.
I've-
You have to work harder.
Who will draw the line which is harder and which is hardest?
It has to be effective.
My friends keep on telling me, Engineer Saab, stop it now. Your age does not
No,
permit.
no, no, don't stop
Your
it.
health does not permit.
Expand it. Do more. Work harder.
Still, I keep on doing it.
Please do.
Whatever within physical limits, whatever I can do, I do. I go to even small villages and talk to women about their rights, talk to men about their rights, about peace, about non-violence.
Okay. Asghar Ali Engineer, may your tribe increase.
Yes.
Thank you.